If you're a man who's not of value, oh, you can best believe when she said farewell, you would never be able to tell a story about her again because she's gone. Shout out to City. He writes, any tips for steering the conversation towards sex? To hop on this one real quick, number one, I often recommend against steering the conversation towards sex. Conversation is of words. Sex in reality is of physicality. So why is it, do you think, that your words are going to necessarily lead you there? What your words do is they give her a warning, an alert. What I would rather do is have you speak modestly and start leading toward the physicality through physicality. You dig? So I always say take action if you can. Now, if you're on the phone or you're on text message, why do you want to lead the conversation towards sex if you're not in the place to be to actually convert it?
Physical, right?
You know what I'm saying? So you really want to be thoughtful about that. Sometimes you're so driven by libido and your horniness that you're not thinking clearly, like, okay, well, what if you did lead the conversation towards sex via text message? Now what? Like, now what? So really, when you're in person, you also want to think about circumstance. Are we in a physical space to where if I can leverage my tools of being proximate, close to her physically, laying hands on her, and if appropriate, saying the right words to her, can I make it pop off here? Because when you transition her to that sex, it should be like a magic trick. It should be like, we're here and now we're over here. And she should say, oh, I don't even know how that happened, because it's smooth and swift. You dig? So that's my piece on it. Player, what do you say about it?
That's interesting. You know what I always tell guys with this whole thing is that, see, there's nothing wrong with being sexual with your conversation per se, but what it is that you still need to be able to understand the context in which you're doing the conversation. Meaning, like, for example, if I'm in a situation where there's no possible way for, whatever reason, where I can have sex with this woman right now, you understand what I'm saying? At this point, it doesn't make a difference if I'm saying sexual stuff and leading the conversation sexual, because right now I can't have sex with you. You understand? So, for example, I'll give you an example. Let's say you're at a club or a bar or something like that, and you meet a girl who's from out of town, and she's staying in a hotel, but she's staying in the hotel with like 3 or 4 of her friends. So all 4 of her friends is there, and you can't take her to the bathroom because the bathroom is packed. And, so it's like at that moment, it doesn't really make sense to be super sexual at that moment because I can't have sex with you right now. So what I would say is my conversation would be more about, when are we going to have a free moment? Like, when are you leaving tomorrow? You leaving next week? Okay, you leaving next week. Cool. Listen, when's the next day you free? Oh, you free Monday? All right, listen, I'm free Monday too. Let's meet up at so-and-so, or let's meet here to make something happen. So now when I meet her there and I have things set up, then I can be in that conversation of sexual stuff and touching and doing all this other stuff, because now I can lead her to the sex location or the sex spot to make something happen. You see what I'm saying? So you got to think about that within its entirety. So I think a lot of times guys are worrying about or thinking about just the idea of having sexual talk and making sexual conversations, and not necessarily thinking about the context in which it's happening. You understand what I'm saying? Because this is also another thing too. You guys got to understand something. Sometimes what happens is that you can give a woman, let's say, for example, you're in a situation where you're giving a woman so much attention as far as conversation and being very sexual, whatever, and you can't lead it to sex for whatever reason, the circumstance. You can't take her back to your place for some reason because you got your roommates there and your mom is sleeping there this weekend or whatever the fuck it is, and you can't take her to her hotel because it's crazy right there and you got enough time to book a new hotel, whatever it is. There's certain circumstances where it can't happen. If I'm being super sexual and doing all this stuff with her there and I'm making out with her and doing all this other craziness, sometimes what happens is she gets her attention fix already at that moment. So therefore, if I hit her up the next day or next week and I say, hey, let's get together again and finish what we started, I'm good. And the reason why she's good is because I've given her all the attention and validation and all this other stuff already at that moment. So because this is what you guys got to understand. Women love sex just as much as us. You understand what I'm saying? Right, right. But also, don't ever underestimate how much women love attention. So what happens is that because I'm giving this woman so much sexual attention and we couldn't follow through with sex. Now, this doesn't happen all the time. This happens sometimes. Sometimes what will happen is that because I gave her so much attention sexually at that moment and I couldn't move it to actual sex, she'll just take the fact that she got the attention and be satisfied with that. You see what I'm saying? Instead of me saying to myself, man, I can't smash this girl tonight. So what I'm gonna do is I'll exchange numbers with you. I'm gonna hit you up and then we'll start at that point and then have the sex going on. You see what I'm saying? So that we can, you understand what I mean? So you leave it at that point. So sometimes what happens is that sometimes you give a woman too much attention in that moment where it can't happen and the momentum dies down. See, it's better. See, the thing is this, you guys want to be going up this way, right? And you want things to be going up, right? Now, if you go up this way and this is all you can take it, meaning y'all can't have sex, and then next week you call her, it's down here again. The momentum is gone. It's lost. So you might have lost that opportunity. I always say strike while the pussy's hot. Sometimes the pussy gets cold and you can't strike no more. You see what I'm saying? It's over.
I agree with you there. And the worst thing is that when you're making the conversation sexual, but there's no real possibility of sex, you've then given her the validation that she's been seeking and you've shown your hand. I like to have a chick's mind boggle to where she's not even sure if I'm attracted to her. Are we going out as friends right now? And then when it's time to actually get to that good stuff, you heard me, it moves so rapidly, she doesn't know what's going on. But more importantly, she's been waiting for it and wanting it and desiring it and yearning for it, meaning that the food tastes best when you were starving. The food is always good when you're hungry, but they don't create the hunger in the woman because they show up and they're already showing their hand and the woman can see the whole movie, the whole plot. You don't want to watch the trailer of a movie and know everything that's going to happen. And that's what happens with most of these guys. There's no level of mystery, no intrigue. It's like they show up and give the woman everything, the attention, the sexual interest. There's no mystery. There's no plot twist. And the woman is looking for something different. So if every guy who approaches her off the rip, she can assume they like her. So you've shown up as just one of a whole army of guys who's approached her, especially if she's attractive. So I agree with you there.
I wanted to say something real quick too, as far as like the sexual talk and everything like that. See, I like to be direct when I'm talking to women in most cases. And what it is too is that, again, a lot of guys have to understand how to feel out of because a lot of guys think being direct is just walking up to a girl and say, hey, I want to smash. You understand? That's not really what it's about. Right. You know what I'm saying? Part of what makes being direct so effective or just like talking, getting into those conversations is being able to feel a girl out and see where she's at and how she's responding to you so that you can actually respond back to her to get the best situation to occur. So what happens is this: I don't like to give women attention just for attention's sake. All the attention that I give a woman is calculated. So what happens is that if I'm talking to a girl and I can sense and I can see that she's not really that interested in me, that means that I'm not going to keep going. I'm not going to take it further. I'm not going to give her any type of extra conversation that's showing I have interest, because now she's already shown me that she's not interested. So now it's basically just me giving her extra stuff for nothing. So I'm overextending my energy for nothing right now. If I'm in a conversation with a woman and I see she's flirting back with me, I see that she's smiling, I see that she's giggling, she's having a good time or whatever. Now that says to me, okay, I see that there's interest. So now I can continue further. You understand what I'm saying? I can give you more because you're showing you're worth me giving you more and showing that you're worth flirting in that way to make it go to that next level. You see what I'm saying? So I think a lot of times guys, what they do is that it's like they're giving their gift away to women who are undeserving of that gift. You understand what I'm saying? They're giving their gift away to women who don't really even want the gift sometime, or women who are just going to play around with the gift, meaning they're just playing around with the fact that, I have this guy here giving me attention, but I don't ever want to be in a situation where I'm just giving that woman attention, because remember, everything you're doing is energy. I remember I was watching this video once and this guy was talking about talking to girls and picking up girls. He said, if you're out there on the streets talking to girls, and he said, if you're doing it right, you'll probably break a sweat because it's energy. You understand what I'm saying? And I was like, I agree. You understand what I'm saying? So every time I'm talking to a woman, I'm giving this woman my energy, whereas I could have been giving that energy elsewhere, just like anything else. Like energy and your attention is so important. Like even everybody in the chat, shout out to y'all because y'all could have been anywhere else in the world, but you guys are giving us your energy and we're giving y'all our
hit that like.
You see what I'm saying? Hit the like.
Right.
Facts. So we're giving each other energy, and this is a gift. Like we could be anywhere in the world right now. There's a million things we could be doing, and life is short. I take that to the next level. So even when I'm talking to a woman, I'm like, is she worth me spending another minute on her? Is she worth me even having even more? Is she worth me even making her getting her to smile or enjoy a moment? And if I see that it's not, I'm falling back because I'm like, I ain't got time to waste. You know what I'm saying?
Have you ever tried to throw the Hail Mary? This, when I get to that point that you described, you're not sure if the chick is engaged. There doesn't seem to be the rapport isn't there. It's not moving along. Mm-hmm. When I get to that point with a female and I say, okay, it seems as though this thing is dead. Mm-hmm. And I don't want to invest energy in creating something where there can be nothing. I'll throw that Hail Mary if I just want to smash. So I'll hit her with a crazy text like, hey, why don't you come over and let me bend you over and do beep and then do that beep. You hear me? And then see what she's saying. I feel like those convert at probably about 17%, but I still throw that Hail Mary for a chance to salvage something out of nothing. Snatch victory. You ever throw the Hail Mary?
No, I agree. And that's a good thing because sometimes what happens is this. Is that sometimes I've had this happen a few times where because I tell the chick straight up, I'll be like, listen, like let's come over to the spot, or I'm gonna come, or let's get together and hook up and we're gonna do whatever, anything, something sexual, anything like that, right? And so sometimes the girl is like, nah, I'm not that type of girl. I'm not trying to do that, yada yada yada. I'm like, well, cool. You know what? Well, when you change your mind, you hit me up. When you change your mind, hit me up. I don't say if, I say when you change your mind, hit me up. And like more than half the time, I get those same girls randomly hit me up just out of the blue. You understand? And it can happen within a week. It can happen within 2 days. And sometimes it can happen within a month or sometimes, I've had girls a year from now that I don't forgot they even existed. Hollered at me. It was like, hey, what you doing? You want me to come over? And that's because you set the precedent to let them know, hey, listen, if you're trying to mess with me, we got to do this, period. You understand what I'm saying?
The young boys don't know that. That's real life. And the reason that happens to you is because you're a man of increasing value.
Right.
And what they don't realize is that a woman, these women are not fools, and they're certainly looking for value. And though they might say, for whatever reason, I'm not going to deal with them right now, but they keep you on that back burner. You're in that roster. You might not be in the game right now, but you're on that roster. And, let some circumstances change in their life or let them get a little more mature, whatever the case is. Oh, they're going to bang that line because they're looking at you as an infinite source of all of the things that they know they need. And because you're a man of growing value, they're going to keep you in mind. Right. Whereas if you're a man who's not of value, you can best believe when she said farewell, you would never be able to tell a story about her again because she's gone.